Hello and welcome back to my channel Sakhi Paper Studio. So as you see that the title is that we are going to create a few note papers, and I have with me one normal copy paper which I'm using right now, folding it into half and cutting it using normal cutter, paper cutter. And why I'm doing this not using the paper trimmer is because anyone can make these note papers at home and start their journal process or the journal work that you want to do. Many people, they don't have many supplies like stamps and dies and punches, so I thought of creating simple note papers which you can do at home using very minimal supplies. And as you can see here that I'm using a couple of things that I have saved in my stash from those brown color paper bags. You get them when you place an order online, be it Blinkit or Zomato, things like that. Sometimes you find really cute images, and when I'm having free time, I just use my scissors to fussy cut them and save them. Using an outline as a border using a sketch pen, I am now adding a bit of washi tape. All these things that I'm using that you see, you can easily get it in any local market. So even children can create these note papers at home and start their writing journey. Writing is such an important tool. I cannot emphasize on the importance of writing because it brings really good clarity on how you want to live your life, what are your emotions all about. It is endless. And I started my writing journey way back in 2016, and many of them they know this. All right, so before pasting it directly, I thought of using a background for these images, just to add a little bit of color, similar color, purple that is going on over here. So I used an old envelope and I cut out a piece of it, and now I'm sticking all those things down after cutting it, leaving a border around the edges like so. And that finishes off the first one, the first note paper. Now for the second note paper, I'm using a paper tape. I removed the extra stickiness with the help of the back of my hand, and now I'm going to do some stamping. Now these wooden stamps are easily available also again in any local store. If you go to Itsy Bitsy, you get at a really good price. You can use any shade of ink that you have. Now you can even use the ink that we have, the extremely common ink, blue color ink that we have, with which people usually stamp, the bills and all you get, and when you go to a store and people stamp on it, right, on the bill. So the same ink you can use even for this technique. If you have ink pads of any different color, sure, go ahead, why not use it? Or you can even draw half flowers around the edges like so and leave it as is. So that's what I have done over here. So that completes my second note paper. I'm going to put this aside for drying slowly, and I'm going to wipe it off. And this wiping and cleaning in between goes on happening because I never like my dirty hands, which then spoils different papers. Now it's time to add glaze papers. Again, you get them at local stores, and most of the children they have this. I have taken yellow and pink color, and using the same previous backing tape, I'm going to tape it down on my craft mat, apply randomly the glue on one side and start sticking. And I'm making sure that I'm alternating between two colors and layering it in such a way that half of it is coming out. Now I left a gap just below the pink colored glaze paper, so I'm going to come back again and cover it up using some yellow piece here. And this way I'm going to go and cover all the edges. This is really a fun activity when children have a lot of time at home and use both their hands. It improves cross and fine motor skills both, because you're using your senses and you're using both your hands to pick up pieces. Glaze Using glaze papers is a wonderful thing. Okay, now I'm snipping off the extras from the back, and this is now how it looks like. Using again a purple color sketch pen, I'm going to just draw a border around like this. And now see how pretty it looks. If you want, you can even corner the edges, but I'm going to leave it at it. Alright, now for the fourth paper, I'll be using this ruler which I have since ages and using acrylic markers. Now nowadays most of the houses have acrylic markers. They are so good, I cannot even begin to tell, because coloring is easy. Layering the colors one on top of the others is also easy. And that solves half the problem of worrying whether, the colors will blend, or will they leave stains, or will they become brown. But when you mix two colors, you do fear of two colors getting end up blending and turning it into a muddy brown, which absolutely nobody likes it. Now, using different colors, I'm ensuring that I color then and there itself, because first drawing the border and then going and coloring it minimizes the chance of not going outside the border while doing this coloring. So here I am placing a few circles, and finally using the blue color. See, it did not turn brown. Yeah, now I'm going to use black color sketch pen and double the borders like this. You can even add a border to the shapes, but I have avoided that because I don't know, when I actually use this note paper I might do a little more creativity on it. So I've left it as it is. So the first set of papers, which are really easy to create out of any copy paper, is ready. For the next one, now these are a little thicker GSM wise, so I think these may be around 100 GSM. If that, the normal one is 70 or 75 GSM, this is around 100. Okay, my favorite way of creating note papers one is this, using stickers and layering. So here I am using stickers which I had recently purchased a few months back, and these craft angle stickers, oh my god, they're so beautiful. The sentiments outstanding, because you can just go on using and they don't get over, or at least that is how I feel. And yes, also added a few circles, trimming off the extras and using these extras here on the top right corner. Cool, done. For the next one, I'm going to add a tape, secure it nicely. The same tape I'm using because that is how you save on the material as well. Okay, I'm going to use some sprays. Okay, so first I have used water for the paper to soak in sprays. Now if you don't have sprays, just use your watercolors and your brush and randomly paint. Let it mix, let it get dissolved into each other. It looks really pretty. If you don't have heat gun tool, no worries, just set it aside for drying naturally. I am using a heat gun tool just to speed up the process. Again, cleaning. Now for the next one. This one I really thought I'll use my Ohuhu markers. These are normal watercolor markers. And I was in such a great mood to create this note paper a little more detailed. But you'll see in a while, I ended up creating a little blotch on the paper. You can't quite see in the light, but there was a mark of orange color just beside my hand. You can see there, and I wasn't too happy with it. But nonetheless, what I'm going to do is, you see me, I'll cover it up using another color, and I have to do it because I don't like that blotch on the paper. Okay, so after creating a few leaves on all the four corners, I'm keeping a few dots to make it look like a flower like this. So 4 flowers on each side, and then using a fine liner, this is the 03 fine liner, I'll create a few lines like this. The camera shakes in between because my head keeps coming in between. When I want to do some detail work, my head comes in between. Okay, so using a red color, I covered that blotch and I was then finally relieved. And using this whitener, adding a few dots on the leaves. If you have a white gel pen, why not? You can use that. And then using a corner rounder to round the edges. And one more thing happened. I was so satisfied and happy with myself, but then again, while I was using distress ink, the ink decided to leave its mark on the paper, and I tried using water because distress inks are water based, right? So I tried to remove it by adding a few drops of water and setting it to dry using a heat gun, but the mark was still seen. So now what I'm going to do is, when I will technically use the paper in my journal, I'll add a sticker or something like that. So writing will be done in such a way that it gets covered. No other option. Okay. Now for the last one, I'm going to simply use border punch and go around. That's it. Okay, so this is how it looks like in the end. And so before giving a final, flip through of all the note papers, I thought of rounding this particular one also because it's so colorful, light, mild, colorful, so that the writing is visible. And that's why I had to tone down the spraying of the color by first adding water spray. All right, so these are the note papers that I've created at home. So if you don't have, those fancy note papers that you get outside, that's completely fine. These are a few ways you can create your own at home, because most of us have copy papers at home. You use it for different things like taking printouts, normal printouts, and even if you have those letters of courier that one side is written but the other side is empty, plain, you can use that too. Alright, thank you all so much for watching this video. See you all soon. Bye bye.